Shia Getter, CEO of the Getter Group, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So you've made it your goal to get everyone a good, fair deal when looking for property, all the while providing buyers with the background knowledge necessary to make an educated purchase. It's quite a personal mission. Can you give an example of what inspires you towards this end?
Yes, it's completely a personal mission. I started this about 22 years ago when I actually came from England, from London, and I bought my own apartment in Beitar was then. Then at the time I had someone who helped me throughout the whole process. Someone who helped me understand which location to buy, also to understand which developer to work with, and thirdly, even within that developer, to understand which option to buy, which dealer to buy. For example, he helped me buy an apartment on the top floor that will have roof rights. So eventually I managed to build on top of that. So I realized how important it is to have someone with you. I was then from England, I didn't know anything, but I realized that if I have someone with me explaining to me, helping me through the process, it makes such a big difference. Eventually I sold that apartment, I made a nice profit on it. So I realized that it's important to have someone to hold your hands whilst you do the purchase, and this way you'll manage, you'll have a successful purchase.
And that's what the Getter Group does.
Yes, this is what we do, yeah.
So what kind of real estate horror stories have you encountered as someone in the field belonging to a community of English-speaking Olim? I can imagine there's just a ton of conflict because of the language barrier and other such difficulties.
Yes, I've seen many horror stories. Baruch Hashem, my clients, we don't have any horror stories. I'm an experienced, 20 years experience, and we make sure to help our clients throughout the whole process that they don't get through this. But sometimes people come to us after they've done something, for example, and then they ask us that we should help them out of the situation that they got in. Right. So we had a client, for example, that they signed the LOI, which is called here in Israel a Tofas HaShama. So they signed it for a higher price than what this price is really supposed to be.
Wow.
Yes. And what we do, once a price is signed, you can't go back to the developer, he should take down the price, because the developer sees this is the price he's going to get, he won't give you a discount anymore.
Right.
But what we managed to do is to get this client more amenities and things included in the price to cover the price that they got, like say extra makhsan, storage room, extra parking spaces. This is one of the stories.
Yeah, I think that a lot of Olim are really nervous to be taken advantage of. And this is just one of those kinds of examples that constantly happens to this community.
Yes, people are afraid to be that someone might take advantage of them, and that's also what holds them back. Sometimes someone really knows he wants to buy something, he wants to do, and he's so afraid that someone will take advantage of him, so he ends up not doing anything, he gets frozen. So this is what we help to make sure that the people are educated. I wrote 2 books about buying real estate in Israel. I write all the time articles to make sure people are educated, they know what they're doing. In this case, no one will be able to take them for a ride.
Right, you thaw that nervous exterior, so to speak. So from what you've learned from these awful experiences, how have you implemented solutions into the Getter Group's strategy at its very base?
Yes, so we have a very systemized checklist. Like every step, there's many steps a person goes through when he buys an apartment, from thinking to buy to signing the LOI, doing contract, taking out mortgages, designers. There's so many people involved. So at every step, we have like a checklist to make sure that everything that is supposed to be checked is done. And from over the experience, we add things to the checklist to make sure that things are done properly.
Right, so nothing ever will get missed out, right? You're not going to end up with exposed wires coming out of the ceiling or something.
No. We have a team of 14 people and everyone has a job. We have a very systemized system.
Good. That's important, People want to feel that they're being taken care of. So you've said in the past that there is a sort of compass that buyers need to keep in mind that navigates them to or from a property. So how do I know if a deal is a good deal?
The compass, I love the idea of the compass, and I always tell it to people, and it's important to understand clearly how this compass works. So as I say, like a pilot, he needs to understand this compass in order to know the direction where he's going to. The same as if you buy a deal in Israel. Actually, the compass, you can use it in every field in life. But here in real estate, it's very important. So the compass has 4 angles. Right. So you have the north. The north tells you your direction, where you're heading to. The east tells you why you're buying this, to understand your why. The west is what tools do you have, and the south is what holds you back. And I'll explain a bit more what each means. I usually start with the east. The east is why you're buying this. There's so many important questions you have to ask yourself before you buy. Are you buying this for your own purpose, for your own sake? Are you buying this for your kids? Planning to make aliyah? Some people just buy for investment. Some people want a second home for vacation. So understand the why makes the difference on why you're approaching. Then what tools do you have? So in our case, they don't need so many tools. Usually a person would need a lawyer, mortgage broker, designer, engineer. So we get together the whole set of tools, and we get to set together the whole set of tools, and they just have to decide their budget. And then, from when we have the east and the west, then we can decide where we're heading to, what's the north, and of course, we have to deal also with the south. What's holding people back? You mentioned before that sometimes people are afraid, so we have to deal with their fear. What's holding them back from doing after they understood the east, the west, where they're heading to? They're still not doing the decision.
Right.
So I help them figure out what's holding them back.
So on the other end of things, with real estate, people always kind of look at the surface level, but I think that a lot of the difficulty is also just how the payment works in Israel is so different from anywhere else. Do you at Getter Group handle mortgages? How does that work?
Yes, so we handle the payments. We help people work out the payments. That's also a very important part of working out the deal, to understand what type of payments the client can do and how to schedule the payments, and also to be on top of the payments to make sure that he doesn't miss any payments and he doesn't get any penalties. And then afterwards is also working out the mortgage. The mortgage is also very important to understand how the mortgage works, and also to structure it properly in a way that it should work well for the client. For example, if the client's income is in dollars, he should really take out a loan which is based on dollars, which is linked to the dollar. Right. If his income is in shekel, he should take a loan which is based on shekel, because then he doesn't get exposed to the fluctuation in the rate. There's also another important point in mortgages some people don't realize. Sometimes it's linked to inflation. Many people don't realize what inflation means. The actual amount of money that you take out of the mortgage could be linked to inflation. So you can be giving back to the bank money monthly, and then at the end you see the loan hasn't gone down because it's linked to inflation. So you have to be careful not to take a loan which is linked to inflation. Sometimes the bank will require you that you have to take some part because it works like in a basket. So you minimize that amount as much as possible.
So you guys really take your clients hand in hand through this ultimately really scary process. I mean, we talked about the fear surrounding it before, but I think mortgages is just another angle of that same concern. So I'm curious, like just one point in summation, your number one tip for somebody looking to buy property in Israel, what is the number one thing for them to keep in mind?
The number one tip is actually, I would tell people that many times a person wants to buy something in Israel, and he has that dream in mind. They want a penthouse overlooking the ocean, or if they want overlooking the old city in Jerusalem, and they can't afford it yet. So they keep on waiting until eventually they hope one day they'll afford the apartment that they can buy. But what happens, in the meantime, they might be making more money, but on the other hand, the prices keep on running away from them. So I always tell people, buy something. Buy something, don't wait. Just buy something now, even if it's not exactly what you're looking for. At the end, when you'll afford more, you'll be able to sell that and buy something else. If you just wait, you're not on the game, you're not on the field, so you lose out just from waiting.
Yeah, don't be afraid to join the game.
Yes.
So much that you're losing it before you even start.
Yeah.
So finally, what are your top tips for potential property buyers in Israel?
So I would say I have three most important tips which people need to know. The first important tip is, many times people want to buy something in Israel. They have that dream in their mind. They want to have a penthouse overlooking the ocean, or some people want to have a dira in Jerusalem, which is overlooking the old city, overlooking the Har Bayit. And whilst they're thinking about their dream, at the moment they don't have the money yet for that dream. So they wait. They hope one day they'll have the money to get their dream. In the meantime, they don't buy anything. and the price keeps on running away from them. So I always tell people, buy something, don't wait, because the price keeps on going up. So if you buy something, you're in the market, you're in the field. So eventually you'll make more money, you'll be able to sell that and buy something else. But keeping on waiting just makes you lose, and you're not managing to run towards the market. That's tip number one. The second tip is always to have a plan B. And that's part of a negotiation. Like, even after you chose your apartment, things can go wrong eventually afterwards. Maybe the contract is not exactly the way you want it to be, the amenities is not exactly what you're planning to get. So if you don't have a plan B, you have only this deal that you want to buy, so you end up compromising on things that you didn't want to compromise. If you have a plan B, so you know, if this doesn't go exactly to what I want, I have another option, which I'll go to that. So you don't have to compromise on things that you don't want to. And the third important point is, when it comes to negotiating, some people hit the price. The buyer asks for a specific price, and they try to target only the price to negotiate on that. And I tell people there's much more besides of that final price. There's so many things that you can negotiate into the price that many times if you come from the other side and you negotiate on other things, you'll gain much more than if you just hit the price. So it's very important to be a professional negotiator. When it comes to negotiate your price, you have to do it professionally.
Amazing. Shia Getter, thank you so much for joining us today.
And thank you very much for having me.